could be starting a business out, you could be 5 years into your business, but when you come to one of our tours, you're still going to leave with some type of knowledge.
Hey there, podcast listeners. Want to hear more from Hidden Images Podcast? Download Next Level Internet Radio app and start tuning into some of the hottest underground artists from all over. Plus, Hidden Images Podcast airs every Monday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Download now. Welcome to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. I'm your podcast host, Sabrina Ford, and for the next 2 hours, we're bringing you nothing but the biz as it relates to Black business, Black entrepreneurs, and Black culture. Jay, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you've been here before, but you haven't been on Hidden Images.
And I really appreciate you taking this time to interview me. But for those who don't know, I am Jay, and I am from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I do have cerebral palsy. And what cerebral palsy is something that make you have a different developmental issues, meaning that you can't develop like you want to.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you know, it takes a special people in your corner to where you can't have it too bad.
Yeah. So I know we've talked before. We've interviewed before. We met up at White Rock and we took some pictures.
Yes.
and we interviewed. And just take me back and take the listeners back to your childhood. I know when you mentioned when you were first born. Tell me again and tell the listeners, what did the doctors say to you or say to your parents?
Well, first they told my parents that to care of all of my families from Memphis to Mississippi to Indianapolis, because I wouldn't make it throughout the night.
Wow.
And my mama just asked, do you know the God that I serve?
Yeah.
And then the next morning, the doctors thought that he was in the wrong room.
Wow.
Because I was up and talking.
Yeah. And that is such a beautiful story because it just goes to show you God has the last say so.
Yes.
He really does. It's not what doctors say. Humans, we make mistakes all the time. There's so many times where I've heard where the doctors come in and said this, and you go get an opinion from another doctor and it's completely different from the first opinion that you got. And I think sometimes, don't y'all study the same medicine? How are your opinions two completely different? And how old are you now?
I'm 45. And I shouldn't be living like 35 years. But the doctors just gave me till I was like 10, 11 years old. And like I said, I'm 45 and I'll be all hearts.
And that's exactly why you established Disabled Power. So let's talk more about Disabled Power. Let's talk about the mission, why Disabled Power is so important, and where are we trying to go with Disabled Power from here?
Okay, I came up with Disabled Power because people really don't understand that people with disability do have the power to fight all odds.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring awareness to the disability community.
Yeah.
To let people know, hey, you can talk about us all you want to, but at the end of the day, we have the power to do what you tell us that we can't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and my mission is to just, educate people on what disability is, and let people with disability educate me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I'm disabled, I might not have the same disability that someone else might have. So they can educate me on their disability as well.
I like that. Because we're all different. And
Yes.
I absolutely agree with you. Disabilities don't and they shouldn't stop anyone from accomplishing their dreams, going to school, getting a job, and just being accepted in the world, just like we all accept each other. We shouldn't look at anyone with a disability and think that they don't have a right to do what somebody else without disabilities does, because they have just as much as right as you do.
Yes.
And they probably could do it better. And they're probably more intelligent. There's so many people with disabilities whose IQ level is through the roof.
Yes, and that's what I tell people.
Yes.
These jobs, not just jobs, but most places look at disability people as you cannot perform like we want you to, but I tell them, don't count us out.
Right, definitely.
And that's one of my slogans that I have. Don't count the disability out.
I love that. I always see you hashtagging that, and I love it because it's just absolutely what it means. Don't count us out.
Yes.
We're here. We can do the same thing.
Yes.
I love it. So I want to talk about the name, because I know you went through a name change. At first, you called it
Disabled Lives Matter.
and then now we have Disabled Power. So I want to talk about why it's important to make sure that we have that name, the right fit for our brand, and tell us why you decided to make that change.
Well, I changed it from Disabled Lives Matter to Disabled Power is because I was mostly focused on the lives of the disability people. But now I'm looking at the power that the disability community have. Because like I said, we do have the power and everything.
Oh, yes.
And I basically wanted to let people know, hey, here we might have the lives or whatever, but at the same time, we have the power.
I love that. I think that is so beautiful because each and every different community needs a voice.
Yes.
And if your community doesn't have that voice, you're going to get overlooked.
Yes.
And so when we first met, I told you, I've never seen anyone speak out and develop a brand specifically designed to advocate for the disabled community. That's why I just fell in love with it immediately. And so I appreciate you for bringing awareness to people like me who didn't know. You know, I talk to you, we chit chat, you educate me on a lot of things. And so let's talk more about cerebral palsy.
Yes. And I want to say this as well. A lot of people nowadays have kids that don't know nothing about disability.
Yeah.
And the first thing they want to do is give them up for adoption and stuff like that. And I go back to what my mama could have did.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they wanted my mama to put me nursing home.
But I know we also talked about the support system that your mom had.
Yes.
Talk more about that, because you said your stepfather was around, your family, your aunties, your uncles, like everybody just supported your mom and just supported you. Let's talk about how important that is.
It's very important. It's very important because without that support system, everything can go downhill.
Yeah.
But with that support system that I had, I was able to walk, without being on crutches or being in a wheelchair. Because if you didn't know me, and somebody would say cerebral palsy, you would think that everybody would be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it's based on the support system that they have.
Yeah. So give me an example, or give us an example of, because I remember you telling me last time that your stepfather, that he really stepped up and he stepped in. Tell us some ways that he stepped up and he stepped in to help you get to where you are now.
He basically just had me exercise. Even though I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But he kept on me and everything because he wanted me to be as normal as I possibly could. But as a child, you did not understand that.
Right.
You would think that he just being hard on you.
Yeah.
But now, as a grown man, I really do appreciate him for doing that.
Exactly. And the word normal, as a kid, we look at normal as certain things. But now that I'm an adult, nobody's normal. None of us are not normal. Who's normal around here?
Yes.
We all have something going on, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally. I know I'm an emotional wreck sometimes. Like, that's my not normal. But I love that you're here, and I love that you're not afraid to share your story, because there's so many people out there that are afraid to share their story, get their testimony, because they're afraid of how they might get looked at, how they might get judged. So
I was like that.
Yeah.
I was like that, but now I see that too many kids is being born in this world with a disability, and their parents don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if I educate people, they will understand, and it will be less and less kids and, being adopted out.
Yeah.
And not being with their parents.
Yeah. Because that's what it's about. I think that the best way to, just for your example, if you didn't have that support system, you probably wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
Well, I will, because the news that I've been seeing throughout the whole years, people who is caretakers of a disability child, they don't care.
No, they don't care, because it's not their job to care.
Yeah.
It's their job to take care of you to the state standards.
Yes.
And state standards are bare minimum across the board on a lot of things.
Yes.
And that's it.
So, so I appreciate my mama and my stepfather to tell them, no, we ain't going to take him and let you putting me a nursing home because, like you just said, ain't no telling where I would be.
Right. Wow, that's so powerful. And again, like, I appreciate you for being here and sharing your story and sharing your testimony. And I want to talk about something that we discussed before. You were on another podcast one time.
Yes.
And you thought it went great.
Yes.
But apparently, according to them, it didn't go great.
Why did you have to wait?
Because it's the real deal. I'm leading into something, and
Okay.
what I'm leading into is for me. You have to give everybody the opportunity,
Yes.
no matter what disability they have, no matter what you feel about them. If you bring somebody on your platform, you have to give them the opportunity to share their voice, to share their brand, to share their testimony. And it sounds like they just didn't give you that opportunity because they felt, because you have a speech impediment, that you weren't good enough to be heard on their platform. I don't like that. That's why I'm bringing it up. I don't like it. So let me just go ahead and put that out there, and then we can go back, to it. But how did that make you feel? Let's talk about that.
It made me feel like I was worthless.
Yeah.
It made me feel like they were just using me to get ahead of not the owner of the radio station, but the person who I was supposed to be working with.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like that person was trying to build themselves.
Yeah. And you know what? What I told you was, you didn't need them. If nobody's going to give you an opportunity to be heard, they don't need you.
Yes.
You don't need them, is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. So, just so you know, their doors have closed. They're not open anymore. I can't say their name right now.
Let's see how you do people.
He knows who I'm talking about, but their doors are closed now. They're no longer in business. And so, just wanted you to know that. Yeah.
See how things work out.
Yeah. And then you can't go around treating people, wrong. You can't do people wrong. You have to be accepting of respect. Let me say that. Let me do correct myself, because you don't have to accept everything, but you do have to respect everybody.
Yes.
You do.
Yes. And that's my biggest issue. When I get nervous, I do mumble jumble. And to where people don't fully understand what I'm talking about. And it doesn't matter if you disabled or not. If you get nervous, you do mumble jumble.
I think people just need to have patience. That's it. Like, just have patience, because I don't hear mumbo jumbo. I've never thought about that. And when we talk fluently. Like, you and I, we just talk.
Yes.
It's not a, well, what'd you say? Say that again. I'm like, we talk fluently because I'm patient with you. You're patient with me. Heck, I'm all over the place sometimes. You literally had to call and be a support system for me in my personal times, that I've been going through here lately. And so you never know who you're surrounding yourself with that could be your support system one day.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that.
You
are a voice to me. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just continue to be that voice. If nobody wants to be patient with you, then your brand isn't a good fit to do business with them, to be around them. or anything like that.
And I've been thinking before I connected with you in the Next Level Network, I was getting rejection after rejection. So while you is thanking me, I thank you, and I thank the Next Level Network to let me be on this platform to get my brand out.
Right. Well, we appreciate you for coming. Like, we really do. This is what Hidden Images is about. It's not about me. You know, I share a little commentary here and there, but it's really about the guests that I bring on and bringing light and bringing an awareness to their brand. And so let's talk more about Disabled Power.
Okay.
So you have an event coming up June 5th, correct?
Yes.
Let's talk more about that event.
Okay. It's basically a clothes and Cancun Drive, and if anybody that needs clothes or Cancun, they can come out and they can get the whatever they need to get.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they just want to drop clothes off, they can do that too.
And so what's the location again?
It's on Brentwood Stair. Please don't ask me.
It's on Brentwood Stair in Fort Worth, Texas, correct?
Yes.
I don't remember the address either. Though, let's not even lie about it. Brentwood Stair, Fort Worth, Texas. If you want to know the information, you can actually go on Jay Linear's page and find it there, disabledpower.info. You should be able to find the information as well there. Also, you can follow my page because the Win With Purpose Tour will be there. Myself and my CEO, Nadia, we're going to be there supporting Disabled Power and supporting your mission. So we thank you for letting us be a part of that. I think it's so important to collaborate with the right people. And you and I, we've connected. And ever since then, we've just hit the ball running on collaborations and supporting each other. And so we're just going to go back to that as far as from a brand perspective, how important it is to promote and to support other people's brand as well as you wanting them to promote and support your brand. So how important do you think that is for Disabled Power?
It's very important, because I'm out here supporting everybody
You do.
and everything, but in return, I would love for people to support me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to support me per se, but I would love for you to support Disabled Power because you never know. You might not have someone that's disabled now, but you never know
That is
what
true.
God might have in store. You might say, hey, I don't know anybody that's disabled today, but next month you might come to me and say, Jay, I got a disabled niece or a disabled nephew.
That's true. That is so true. I had someone reach out to me about a month ago now. We were just chit-chatting, and that's his testimony, is that his wife got into a car accident and now she's disabled, and now he takes care of her. And just like you said, you never know when someone could become disabled, or something could happen where they lose a limb, or just something where they just fully depend on someone else, to take care of them. What advice do you have for someone on the caretaker side, on the caregiver side?
Just be patient with that person.
Yeah.
And be trustworthy. Let the parents trust you
Yeah.
with a disabled child. Because without that, there's nothing.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. You know, just being patient goes a long way.
Yes.
You know, being patient with anybody, and it helps you out too as the caretaker. You know, if you're patient and you're taking those breathing moments and you're taking time to really pay attention to what you're doing and how you're caring for someone, then maybe it won't seem so overwhelming to that person.
Yes.
You know, I haven't experienced that, so like I said, I'm still learning everything about disabled power from you. And so,
and I know there's some things that I have not put out there, because until Women with Purpose tour came along, it always been me. And so now that we is working side by side, maybe I can share a lot more things, and you can help me to put it out there and everything, so people can actually understand and know a little bit more. Because with me being by myself, you can't do everything by yourself.
You really can't. I'm glad you said that, because it does take a team building a brand.
Yes.
And if it's not the team you put in place, you better go hire the right people to help you build your brand.
Yes.
You better do that, because it takes so much into building a brand that's reputable, like Nike, Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Those brands, like, we compare ourselves to those brands, but you don't want to put in the work to become a Nike or a Coca-Cola. They definitely didn't do it overnight.
No.
And they didn't do it by themselves.
No.
Definitely didn't do it by themselves.
No.
It takes a team to build a brand.
Yes.
And like I said, if you're not building that team, you better be hiring the right people and doing your research and getting the right marketing team in place and the right advertising team in place. And if your marketing team and your advertising team don't come from the same company, that's going to be an issue in itself, because you have to keep those two in line.
Yes.
Your marketing goes hand in hand with your advertising. So I try to encourage people, when they're looking for marketing advice or they're looking for marketing help, make sure you find a business that can also help you with the advertising side of it, you know, because if not, then you're going to be going back and forth, and that could be confusing. So it's very important to have the right people in place.
Yes.
It is. What else are you doing to get the right people in place? Like, give some more examples. Besides working with me, the Women with Purpose Tour, what else are you doing to align the right people to help take disabled power to the next level?
Right now, I just be reaching out to different companies, whatever. And if they don't want to work with me, I just move on.
Yep.
Until I do find the right people.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with disabled power. It just, across the board, it's going to happen. I reach out to different companies and different businesses, and sometimes I don't hear anything back. Okay, it's fine. Move on to the next one. Maybe you didn't have time. Maybe you didn't see the email. Maybe it went to the wrong department and it should have gone to another department. Because I've actually had that happen before. I reached out to a business and I sent my information to the wrong department. And they said, well, let me just forward this to the correct department. This isn't the right department. So it happens, you know. But, yeah, just keep networking. Keep reaching out to people. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I'm a big supporter of networking, and the power of just speaking to people, reaching out to them. It's so important. Because if you're not sharing your brand, they're not going to know about it. If you're not the one telling people about disabled power, nobody else can speak for disabled power. Right. No matter how much I come in and help you with your brand, I cannot speak for disabled power. That's why I always refer them right back to you. You want to know anything? Yeah, contact the founder. I can't. And I've never been that way. Even when I help market and advertise other brands and my friends and things like that, I tell them all the time, I can bring you the clients, but I can never close your sales. Mm-hmm. And I will never close your sales.
Yes.
You have to close your own sales.
And that's what I appreciate about you, because most people try to take credit.
Oh, no. I can't take credit, especially for something I'm still learning about. But it also, on your side, the one thing I love about you and the one thing I love working with you is that you're coachable. And if I tell you something, you actually listen. And the next time we talk, you're like, Sabrina, I made that call. I've done that. I did what you need me to do. I sent this email. I did that. And I'm like, yes. Let's just cross it off. Just like even after we wrap it up here, we have a whole meeting that we're about to jump into. So it's just, I appreciate you. And I just want all the listeners out there, if you're building a brand and you hire someone or if you put someone in place to help you with marketing, advertising, brand awareness, respect them and listen to what they have to say, because that's what you hired them for. Yes. Just like when you told me about the name change, that happened before you and I met. I was going to tell you the same thing. You need to change that name. You need to change it.
Because I was getting a lot of negative feedback on Disabled Lives Matter.
Talk about some of the negative feedback.
Some people was aligning me with Black Lives Matter. A lot of people, basically was saying, okay, we understand that disabled got lives too, but are you trying to connect Black Lives Matter with your brand too?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but I understand what Black Lives Matter is going through, because a cop can stop a disabled person and not knowing their disability and want to shoot them.
I mean, that almost happened. I can't remember the names involved, but there was a case like that where the disabled guy was sitting in the street and his teacher came to help him. If I'm not mistaken, they shot the teacher because he was out there trying to help one of his students.
So, I have not heard about that case, but the case that I'm talking about was this guy who was in his car, a black guy. He was deaf, and the police thought that he was being combative and not listen to what they were saying. But he was deaf, so they shot him.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one. I'm gonna have to do research on that one. Wow, did he pass away?
No.
Oh, okay. Ooh, good.
Good.
But still,
right. But still, but that's part of the reason why I did Disabled Lives Matter for that reason.
I get it.
But when people was aligning me with Black Lives Matter, I changed the name real quick.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. I would have told you the same thing. Like I've been telling you that I just love the name Disabled Powered. I think it's so important that if you're listening out there, understand the uproar that his supporters told him, look, you need to change this name. Listen, it's just not working. You need to change it. And you did that.
Yes.
That's why it's so important to listen to your clients, listen to the people who support you. At least take it into consideration what people are saying about your brand.
Yes.
I think it's so important to do that. And again, I'm so glad you made that name change.
I'm glad I did too, because now I'm getting a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of people that want to buy my merchandise and everything, you know, but at the same time, I'm still growing.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to listen to what people are telling me.
Yes, continue to do that. And you're always going to be growing. Every brand out there, you're always going to be growing. 10 years from now, Disabled Power will still be growing because you're growing and you're changing with the times. You're changing with technology. You're changing with everything that's going on in the world. There's so many new things out there. And I'm pretty sure 10 years from now, there'll be more information, more disabilities that you'll be able to share and talk about. So you're always going to be growing. And so as long as you understand that, and every entrepreneur out there, then you're on the right path to success. Because that's part of your marketing, is understanding the growth, understanding 10 years from now. That is what marketing really is.
Yes.
Is investing in the future of your business.
Yes.
So continue to do that. But I know when we text this morning, you wanted to talk more about cerebral palsy.
Yes.
So let's dive back into that, if that's okay.
Yes.
So tell me exactly what you wanted to share and what's so important to you about it.
Well, like I said, if people look at me now, they wouldn't think I had cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the support system I had, that's the reason why people wouldn't think that I had it. But if I didn't have the support system, I probably would be in a wheelchair. And that's what people think.
Yeah.
People think if you have cerebral palsy, you is in a wheelchair. You can't do too much movement, which is part of a side effect of cerebral palsy.
So let's run down through more side effects of it. What are some of them?
You can't use your arm and your limbs that well. You do have speech issues, and you do have learning disabilities.
Wow. And you obviously are walking just fine, moving just fine. You're smart. You don't have any learning disabilities. I don't understand what the doctors were saying to your mom. What is that something that did she know before she physically gave birth to you, or it was during or right after she gave birth?
That you brought up cerebral palsy can be even before birth.
Wow. So it can be detected while she's still pregnant with you?
Yes.
Is that what happened with you?
I'm not for sure. Because I really don't try to dive into it with my mom too much. I just say, thank God I'm here, and that's it. Wherever happened when I was a child, let bygones be bygones.
I love that. I'm here today. I've surpassed all odds, and what happened is what happened.
Yes.
What they said was supposed to happen didn't even happen. I love that. So really quick, if you're listening out there, we're going to take a really quick break, and then we'll dive right back into disabled power. Hi, everybody. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola,
Real low so you don't get booted off.
because they will boot me off. We're taking a quick break and we'll be right back. I did my hair yesterday, y'all. Curled it up a little bit. I still feel like I could have curled it off. I'm trying to freshen up for you all.
Ooh-wee.
It takes so much for a woman to be beautiful. And yes, this is my real hair. I'm like, I've been growing these locks for over 10 years now. You really gonna add? Trust me, I would have given myself some edges. Look. I'm gonna have to cut that part out. Oh my. Let's see. I don't know what I'm gonna eat after this. Jay, what you got a taste for? It's barbecue day. We gotta get some barbecue. Although I don't mind panda.
Ooh-wee.
I don't mind panda. We gotta figure
You
out
know what? I'm sitting there. I may go to Golden Corral.
Oh,
Just to
that
eat
sounds
over
good.
all the money you're gonna spend on barbecue, you're gonna be like, damn.
Golden Corral sounds good.
I might have to hit that up.
I didn't eat breakfast today, y'all, so y'all know I'm hungry.
We might have to put our business at Golden Corral.
That sounds good, actually. Actually, it really does. I brought my laptop.
Me too.
I brought my laptop. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in. I really appreciate y'all. I'm going to start giving away cash prizes on my podcast to see who's really listening in.
Ooh-wee. That's well.
When I get my taxes, though, y'all.
Yeah.
You gonna be,
I gotta check on mine.
you gonna be on Judge Mathis show.
I love Judge Mathis, actually. I would be
Do you
honored.
still come on?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'd be honored, even as a litigant. I don't care. I brought out my purple kicks for this shirt, too.
30 more seconds, y'all.
30 more seconds.
Yeah, I had to do some research on cerebral palsy. I'm gonna be.
We can dive more into it. What else do you want to discuss when we go back on there?
I mean, it's your podcast.
I hate when they tell you that. I have to say that. It's your interview.
Right.
You get a hitter. That's what you should hit.
Yeah.
Here we go, y'all. Oh, wait.
Welcome back to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. I'm your podcast host, Sabrina Ford, and we are talking about all things related to Disabled Powered with founder and CEO Jay Lanier. So, Jay, let's dive right back into it. You enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope everybody who comes on enjoys themselves, and make sure you give me some feedback after this, okay? Okay, so let's talk more about cerebral palsy. I know that this is what we're here for, to bring awareness, and I just want everybody to be able to take information away from this podcast. So let's talk more about that. And is there anything else that you want to share to let us know, to bring more awareness to it?
Cerebral palsy is not curable.
Oh.
So if somebody say, well, if there's a cure for cerebral palsy, it's not. So, again, if you have the support system on your child's cerebral palsy, it's not going to be that bad.
It sounds like that is the cure, is that support system, because you're sitting here as a living testament that you beat 90% of the odds of what is supposed to be against you.
Yes.
So maybe there isn't a per se a cure, but just like you said, I think that if people have that support system, have someone pushing them to do their physical therapy, to do their exercise, to practice on the speech therapy and everything, even I think that is the cure.
Yes.
I hope that's okay to say that.
Yes.
It sounds like it is.
Yeah, it is. Because without that foundation, again, you really don't got nothing.
Yeah.
And you would even go throughout life with that, and being in a wheelchair with people looking at you and make fun of you and everything, and don't want to be bothered with you because you do have the cerebral palsy and everything. But if people understand what you got and what you're going through, they will be more acceptable of you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, because that's why it's so important, that no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are, share your testimony. Tell people if they don't know, what you've been through, just exactly like you said, you meet somebody and you may rub them the wrong way or they may rub you the wrong way. But then when you sit down with that person, you guys actually talk and you tell each other stories, then it changes. Oh, now I understand. That's why when we met, this and this happened, or that's why it is so important just to be respectful and listen to others.
Yes.
And to love each other and to care. I'm so big on that. And so for me, meeting you, I love listening to you. I love chit-chatting with you. We talk, we call each other all day. I'll be at work, Jay. I'm at work, Jay. Real quick, Sabrina, while I got you on the phone.
and another thing that most people don't understand is when you have cerebral palsy, you do drool a little bit. And people would be like, can you contain your drooling? No, you can't.
Wow.
And I do have a bad habit of doing this. When I speak, I do spit a little bit, and that's part of my...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to giggle, but everybody does that. That's why I wish people would stop trying to pick, bully, bring other people down over sin. Like, come on now. I've done that. I've had to tell people, oh, I'm sorry, I just accidentally, let me sanitize you real quick right there. I just, seriously?
But...
I'm sorry you have to go through that, Jay.
But most people be like, okay, can you control it?
I was at a comedy show the other day, and the comic was on stage, and I saw you saw. I'm like, those people on the front row, do they not feel all that? I'm like, I'd be like, dude, still. But I don't get it. I've never bullied anybody, and if I have and I don't remember, I'm sorry. And I'm serious. I've never been that type to bully or nitpick people. When I was in high school, there was a guy, he was disabled. He was in a wheelchair. He had the machine. That's what he used to talk with. That was my friend. We had lunch together. He cracked jokes. He was a big flirt. Don't let you come around. Hey, beautiful. Like, he was my friend. Like, I've never been there. When my mom didn't raise me that way, that's one thing I can, say about her is that she didn't raise any of, her daughters to be a bully, to pick on people. She definitely didn't raise me to take no mess either. So I encourage you to do the same. Don't take no mess from nobody.
Trust me. People already know. Like I tell people, I might talk different from you, and I might act a little bit different, but if you get under my skin, ain't no telling what side of me you might get.
Okay, that's for anybody. Anybody can get it. I love that. I do. I love people who stand up for themselves, defend themselves. I do. I hate bullies with a passion. I love to see those videos where the bully gets beat up. I love it.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Yes.
So tell me about a time where maybe you were bullied or you were picked on, and how did you overcome it?
Throughout elementary, throughout junior high, and throughout high school, I was bullied because my speech, because of the way I talk and walk.
Yeah.
And people will always say, if you ever get married somebody that had a disability.
That's all right.
Because you two will understand each other.
And let's talk about your beautiful wife. Is it okay to share her name?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about her. Tell us her name, and she doesn't have any disabilities, does she?
No, she don't.
Exactly. There you go. What's her name again?
I'm sorry, women, but only disability she got is thinking that she know everything.
Wait a minute, Jay. Wait a minute, Jay. You finna turn this whole podcast around. This is me hosting. This not Doug. She does know everything. She does. I'm pretty sure she does.
Yeah, she does.
I know she does. That's all we're going to say about that.
No, seriously, though, she don't have a disability.
Yeah, that's the point we're trying to make, yeah.
And she choose to be with me, not because of my disability, and because she thought that she can get something from me because I do have a disability. Even though you do have some people that's like that. But she's not like that.
So when you were dating, had you experienced that until you met her?
To be honest with you, I only dated one person throughout my whole time. Even when I was in Indianapolis. Everybody else was just, can I say it? A booty call.
Oh, Jay, you know what? I'm going to say this. Y'all see, disabilities ain't stopping nothing out there, huh?
So, but I was looking for a serious relationship. I was looking for marriage. But everybody who I came across was like, you're a nice guy, but my family might not accept you because of your disability. And same with having a child with me. I don't want to have a child with you because my family might not want a grandchild that the father have a disability.
Wow. So many things to touch on right there. First, did you meet your wife here in Dallas or you guys met in Indianapolis?
I met her in Dallas.
Oh, okay. That's a beautiful thing. So how long were you two dating before you actually got married?
2 years.
Wow. So she knew that when she met you, no, you're the one, we're going to be together, we're going to date, we're going to get married, we're going to live happy ever after.
And that's my thing. 2 years for me is long enough to know if that's the person that you want to be with.
Yeah, I agree. 2 years is definitely long enough to know exactly what you said if you want to be with somebody. It shouldn't take longer than that. But I want to touch bases on exactly what you said. Oh God, it just slipped my mind. I'm so sorry. Repeat what you just said again. We were talking about marriage, dating her. It was something else you said I wanted to touch bases on.
People still want to be married to me because they family.
Yes, that's what I wanted to touch bases on. Why? I just don't understand why we as people think that it is okay to let other people's opinions dictate our lives and our personal decisions. That had nothing to do with their family. If they wanted to be with you, those women or whoever, they should have been mature enough to make that decision on their own selves. Instead of saying, well, my family might not approve of you. What? So what? So what? And so when you talk about some of their reasonings, I want to ask you this. Is it hereditary? Is it 100% that if you have a child with your wife that your child will have or develop cerebral palsy?
And that's what I thought, because when I was a teenager, even in my 20s, I said I don't want a child because
that's kind of deep, Jay.
Because my mama went through hell and back with me, and I don't want to put my child through that. And then the older that I got, and I got around the mature people were saying that because you was a sick child and everything doesn't mean your child would be sick. You might come out with a child that don't have a disability.
So that's probably something I need to do more research on. Is it hereditary? Is it like if you have a baby, will your baby have cerebral palsy? It's not guaranteed, right?
It's not guaranteed. You know, my first child, God forbid, if I do, my first child might not have it. But if I have another child, you might have it.
I understand. I do. My youngest sister has 3 kids. And her oldest son was born with glaucoma. And then my niece was born a few years after that. She does not have glaucoma. But her 3rd child, another boy, was born with glaucoma. And so I started doing a little more research on it, and exactly the same pattern. It affects the boys more so than the girls. So that's why When she had my niece was fine. She has nothing wrong with her eyes. Her vision is fine. She doesn't have to get drops. But my nephew, at 5, it got bad to where one of his eyes got infected and he had to have it surgically removed. So he has a prosthetic in one eye and then a little better vision in his other eye. And then my youngest nephew, he was born, her youngest son was born with glaucoma as well. His vision seems to be a lot better than the firstborn,
Yes.
but he still has problems developing with his eyesight and stuff like that. But my sister was told that for my nephew, her oldest son that now lost his eye, that's not a disability. Would you consider something like that to be a disability?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because,
right?
Yeah, because, how can I say this? Anybody that loses an eye and have to have an eye put in, yeah, that is a disability. Because what if they couldn't find an eye to replace it?
Yeah. Well, it's a prosthetic eye.
Yeah.
It is. It's a prosthetic eye, and so, he's just. I love my nephew so much. I think now that he's older, he's 14 now, but when he was a little younger, he literally, like, kids are so oblivious to everything that's going on. He would literally say things like, when the doctors fix my eye, I won't be able to see better. Mm-hmm. Like, he did not know that, like, it's gone forever. And so, I never told him, that'll never happen. I'm just so happy for you, nephew. I never would say anything like that, to hurt him. But, there was a time where he just like, yeah, my eye's going to get better. The doctors are going to fix me up one day, and I'll be able to see, and it's heartbreaking to see him go through that. I know he walks, he's a little different, there hasn't been anything like diagnosed from doctors, and just like you mentioned, some parents, they don't really want to face it. They don't really want to hear when my son or my daughter has a disability or autistic or things like that. Because then you have to move differently. You have to treat that child a little differently. You have to raise them. There are certain things that they're going to need. And I do feel like maybe some parents aren't ready for that. So like you said, they try to fit them in or make them feel as normal as possible. But my nephew is definitely different. Like I said, there's nothing that's been diagnosed by a doctor. But when you meet him one day, if you meet him, you see that he's different. But his IQ level, though, he's so freaking smart. And I'm just so thankful for that. Like, I have to watch myself around him because he makes me feel like I'm stupid sometimes.
You see, like you said, no doctors did anything, whatever, to what you say?
Diagnose him.
Him or whatever. But when you get older, and they try to get a job, that job might not want to hire him.
Yeah.
And everything. And then what were you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for my speech therapist, I wouldn't be getting a check every month like I do, because she understood that the jobs don't care.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's actually a beneficial factor that if you are disabled, or if you're a parent that has a disabled child, to make sure that they get the right diagnosis so they can present it in the work field or in different environments so people know,
Yes.
what you're going through.
Yes.
I understand. So have you ever felt like you've been turned down for a job because of your disability?
Yes, plenty.
Wow.
Even though by law they can't say it,
Right.
but how they know.
Right.
How they know.
Right. I would never do that. In fact, I interviewed a girl last week. I even told you about her. I want to make sure y'all connect. I interviewed her, and you could tell, she had a disability, but I interviewed her. I flying colors through the roof. I want to hire her. I hope that she does continue to go through the hiring process and go through the training and get hired and come aboard, my team. But I didn't ask her. I didn't belittle her. I didn't act like, well, you can't do the job. No, you're gonna do the job. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna train you, and you're gonna do the job just like everybody else do the job, because you're here. You want this job and you deserve it, just like the next person does.
And that's what I tell people. Just because a person is disabled doesn't mean they can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Just like the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A disabled person probably can do a podcast even better than a person without a disability.
I agree with that.
Not saying nothing bad about you.
No.
Because you're doing a good job.
Well, I appreciate it, Jay. But I agree with that, because your message that you're sending is just as valuable as the message I'm sending to entrepreneurs or giving them the platform. Like, yours might be even greater.
Yes.
Like, anybody can get on a platform and talk about their business, but to actually bring awareness to something in the world that we need to bring awareness to, I think that's just completely different. And so I encourage you to start a podcast. I encourage you to come here, join the Next Level family, and start your podcast. And don't let anybody stop you. Nobody. If they're not giving you the patience to listen to you, oh well, it wasn't meant for you to hear it then. So I hope that, I know we talked about next year you're going to start a podcast.
Yes.
I'm going to be on you, Jay. I'm going to be on you. When is that podcast starting? Have you started it yet? When can I be a guest?
Because, like you just said, next year, hopefully by March, I will have a podcast and everything, because people do need to hear a little bit more of me.
Right.
And not just, me being a guest on somebody else's podcast.
Right. Which is still okay, because I'm always looking to be guests on people's podcasts, So I think it's important that the voice that people hear is yours. Like I said, you're the only one who can speak for Disabled Powered. Nobody else can.
Yeah.
So just continue to be that voice of your own brand, and while we're talking about, you starting your podcast next year, what are some of the other goals? So the other things that you have in place for Disabled Power?
Well, next year, with the podcast, I'm still gonna do the pop-ups.
Yeah.
And everything. That's not gonna stop. And hopefully, by this time next year, I have a little bit more people on board.
Yeah. So how are the pop-ups going for you? I know there's a lot of controversy in the pop-up world. Some are a hit and miss. Some of these pop-up hosts are just doing pop-ups just to be doing them. There's just no meaning behind it, just to have a name on the flyer, just to say I'm doing a pop-up. But I think you've connected yourself with some of the biggest names in pop-up here in Dallas. And so how's it been going for you?
It's going real well for me, like you just said. Because the biggest names in pop-ups are connected to.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going real well. And what I want to get to is hosting a pop-up where people with a disability is the vendors.
I love that. I love that.
And that would be something different and everything, but at the same time, people that don't have a disability can come
Yeah,
to
of course.
come to that table and see what they got and talk to them and everything. That's what I want to do next year as well.
I love that idea. I'm gonna help you with that. I love that. I think that's a great idea. I think it's so important that you continue to bring awareness in every way possible. Having your own pop-up, the podcast, you've got your website, social media. It's so important to just continue to get your brand out there on all those different platforms and all those different levels. So what is one of the best and worst pop-ups you've been to? You don't have to say the name or the host or anything like that.
The best pop-up I've been to was Notorious.
Latoya Shelby.
Yes.
Shout out to Miss Latoya Shelby. I haven't met you yet, hon, but one day we're going to meet. But big shout out to you, honey, because I see you doing big things out there. I know exactly who he's talking about. You making a name for yourself,
Yes,
honey.
she is. She's making a big name for herself, and I really do appreciate her giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
And, and the next, another person is
LaShonda.
Cornell.
I don't think I know her or seen her, or maybe I have.
Cornell.
What's the name of her brand? I know people's brands. See, this is why it's so important. Like, I know Latoya. I know her name.
Light and Truth.
Say that again. The night.
Light and Truth.
No, I don't think I know her. I don't think I've seen her. Y'all got to get y'all's brands out there. If I don't know you, you're not advertising enough.
And she's the very first pop-up that I did when I started out. And she's another one that kind of gave me the opportunity.
You'll have to tag me on her or let me know who she is so I can start following her.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've been talking a lot about female entrepreneurs, and I want to know: are you making more connections with female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs?
There's one male that I will respect, and that's Coffee Man.
There you go.
I respect that man 100%.
Yeah.
And when he came to forward to the World Cup, I had to meet him. Because he was getting his name out there.
If you don't know who the Coffee Man is, you're lost. Because he's definitely making a name, advertising. He's all over the place. So if you don't know who Coffee Man is, I suggest you turn on your social media platforms.
Yes. And I would love to do something with him.
Yeah.
When it comes to the disability community. Because I think with what he's doing, we could collaborate on a lot of things.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, Coffee Man, I'm going to reach out to you here soon because I want him at the financial literacy event that we're having September 3rd. I think he'd be a great addition to that event as well.
Yes.
But more details on that coming soon. Y'all know I give y'all a little bit here and there, and then I'll let you research later. But
Yes. But God is Coffee Man and Brandon James. Them two guys that I love and respect the most.
Yes, you saw our live the other day, me and Brandon.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to talk to him, and even that day when we connected, I think we were on the phone for almost 2 hours, and that was our first conversation that we've ever had. But I've been seeing him all over social media. I've been seeing his lives and everything, and he's supposed to be a guest here on June 27th. I have him coming on to be a guest as well.
I'm supposed to be on his show tonight.
Tonight, right. I'm going to make sure I tune in. 7:30, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, yes, please, if you're out there listening, go to Jay's page right now. Like, follow him. He's going to be live tonight again on another platform. Brandon James. What is the name of his business? He has several, that's why.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
So I just don't be worried about what we
Yeah, he has several businesses going on, and I think I'm going to be doing something with him. He presented an opportunity to me that I think that I'd be great at, and so I'm going to join his team for something. I don't want to say it yet, but I think it's coming. But I really appreciate you. Again, this is what the podcast is for, to bring awareness to Black entrepreneurs, Black culture, to what's going on in our community.
Yes.
And this is definitely something that I wanted people to hear about. And I'm so thankful that you're here. And we're going to wrap it up a little early because we're all hungry. My stomach's growling.
Yes.
Jay, we already have our meeting coming up. He's hungry. Doug over here hungry.
Doug over here surfing the net. Literally.
So, but I want to end it here, and I want you to tell everybody again where they can find you and how they can get in touch with you.
They can find me on Instagram at disabled_powered, or on Facebook, the same name. And I do have a YouTube channel.
Hey.
And it's under the same name, Disabled Powered. And you can go to my website, disabledpowered.info.
I love it. I love it. I just really appreciate you again. Thank you, Jay. And thank you for this lovely shirt. I'm going to wear it all day. Like I said, I got my kicks on, my blinged out chucks made by Lisa Renee. So if you want some blinged out chucks, hit her up. Be prepared to pay that money, though, because they are pretty penny. But as always, I thank you all for listening in. I really appreciate you all. Lo aprecio mucho ustedes. Y que tengan un buen día. Hasta luego. Hey there, podcast listeners. It's your Hidden Images podcast host, Sabrina Ford. And you're listening to Hidden Images podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. Join me Sunday, July 17th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Fort Worth Country Memories for the Women with Purpose Tour. This is an outdoor event with snow cones, face painting, zebras, and miniature horses. So bring the whole family. Come out, network, and leave feeling empowered from the Women with Purpose Tour. For ticket information, visit womenwithpurposetour.com.